Moving into the quiet suburban street, I barely noticed. My new neighbor Tom, his house was always neat, but there was an odd stillness about it, a silence that felt heavier than usual. He spent most days on his porch, a lone figure. One afternoon, a woman emerged from Tom's front door, pale and disoriented, her eyes fixed on the ground. Before I could process it, Tom swiftly guided her back inside, his movements oddly urgent. I brushed it off, thinking she must be his reclusive wife, Susie, whom I'd heard he had people were private after all. And I didn't want to pry. It seemed like a simple, if slightly unusual, interaction. But then I started noticing things. Tom drove different vehicles almost every week, a beat-up red truck, a newer silver SUV, then a drab van for a man who never seemed to work. It felt excessive. Weeks turned into months, and I never saw Susie again. The house remained a dark, quiet sentinel, its windows often unlit even late into the evening. A growing unease settled in my gut. One rainy evening, a curtain twitched in an upstairs window. For a fleeting second, I saw a face. Same pale woman, her eyes wide with what looked like a desperate, silent plea. Then it was gone. The pieces clicked into place. Susie's terrified look, Tom's secrecy, the constantly changing cars, the dark house. It wasn't privacy, it was a prison. Couldn't shake the chilling thought. I discreetly looked up Tom's address, trying to find any public records, any scrap of information about him or Susie. The internet was a vast ocean, but I needed a tiny, specific shore. Then I found it, an old missing persons report, 3 years old, for a woman named Sarah Miller. The picture, it was Susie. My blood ran cold, the truth hitting me like a physical blow. Susie wasn't his wife. She was Sarah Miller, a captive held for years in that quiet house. The implications were horrifying, a nightmare unfolding right next door. My heart pounded with a mix of fear and resolve. I made the call, relaying every detail to the police, my voice trembling but firm. I listened intently, the gravity of the situation sinking in for them too. Help was finally on its way. Patrol cars arrived, silent as ghosts, positioning themselves around Tom's house. The air crackled with tension, a palpable silence before the storm. Every shadow seemed to hold its breath. Suddenly, a voice through a megaphone broke the stillness, demanding Tom surrender. Then the front door burst open, and a faint, muffled scream echoed through the night. Sarah, no longer Susie, was pulled to safety, her face etched with years of fear. But now, finally, a flicker of hope. Tom was apprehended, his reign of terror over. The quiet suburban street returned to its stillness, but the silence now carried a different weight. It was a stark reminder that even in the most mundane places, unimaginable horrors can hide in plain sight.